there for you to call, somebody there to receive your email, somebody who will respond to your needs at the very moment you need it. Because with, your dumb luck, the market's going to crash while your advisor's on vacation in a remote island and not able to respond to your needs. So succession planning really matters. So while you're busy working with your advisor on your succession plan, meaning your retirement, your estate plan, talk with your advisor about theirs. One of the things we pride ourselves on here at Edelman Financial Engines is the issue of succession and the value that we think we deliver to our clients, having 340 or so financial advisors all around the country. Well, that gives a whole lot of confidence to us, and I think, therefore, to our clients, that if something happens to Harvey, Jane is readily available to step right in. And because we operate as a team in our practice, the investment management strategy, the financial planning philosophies are uniform. Each of our advisors knows exactly how the money is being managed for our clients. So we understand the basis for it. We know the investments very well. The portfolio is extremely in-depth. And we understand the financial planning strategies that we're using for mortgages and home ownership, college planning, retirement planning, estate planning, and so on, to provide a seamless transition for our client in the inevitability that a planner becomes unavailable. It has been our sad experience over the last 36 years that we've had a few of our financial planners pass away. We've had several retire. We've had a number simply depart. And, well, that has been an ability for us to demonstrate to the clients of all of those advisors that we're able to continue taking care of them seamlessly without any disruption. You need to know that you have that ability with your planner too. And it's an important criteria, so much so that it's now one of the criteria in the Barron's ranking of the nation's top financial advisors. One of the other reasons I think that we are highly regarded in the financial services industry is because of our forward-looking perspective. We spend a lot of time not merely evaluating what's going on, but trying to anticipate what's going to be going on in the future. We want to position your money so that it is designed for success in the future. Investing is not about the present. It's certainly not about the past. Unfortunately, so many people persist in investing based on past performance. We instead tend to look toward the future. And there's no question that one of the biggest conversations regarding the future of money is digital assets, Bitcoin, and the entire ecosystem surrounding it. A new study just was released this past week from Fidelity, their digital assets division, and they discovered that nearly 8 in 10 investors now believe that digital assets have a place in a portfolio. 9 in 10 find digital assets appealing. And the most appealing attribute? Well, as you would imagine, the high potential upside. And more than half of the institutional investors surveyed by Fidelity say that they are already invested in digital assets. Overall, 33% of U.S. investors own Bitcoin or some other digital asset. It's even bigger penetration overseas. In Europe, more than half of investors report owning digital assets. 71% of Asian investors. But here's what's interesting. Only 3% of pension funds, only 13% of endowments currently own digital assets, suggesting that there's a lot of room to grow. But in the face of all this, while we're apparently seeing widespread adoption and an increase in favorable views about this, you have to pay attention to what Gary Gensler said this week in a conference hosted by the Washington Post. Gensler is the chair of the SEC, the nation's top cop in the securities marketplace. And here is what he said about crypto. Quote, "I don't think there's long-term viability for 5,000 or 6,000 private forms of money." That is an important statement. It is a clear message from the nation's top regulator that the ability for all of these coins to persist is not going to be tolerated. And we have to pay attention to this, because although Bitcoin was the first digital asset, it was invented back in 2009, there are now over 11,000 different digital coins and tokens that exist. The overwhelming majority of them have no legitimate use. They are simply a speculation. One of the most egregious examples, of course, is Dogecoin, which some refer to as Dogecoin, spelled D-O-G-E, coin. And this was designed as a sheer joke. It was meant to satire on the whole Bitcoin conversation. It wasn't intended to be anything legitimate, but for some strange reason, investors have been buying Dogecoin to such a huge degree that many people have become millionaires over it. Others think it's nothing but a pump and dump scheme and is essentially doomed to ultimate failure. That is Gary Gensler's point. 5,000 or 6,000 private forms of money, that is simply something that is not sustainable. So as you continue your education about Bitcoin, blockchain, and digital assets, education and information we bring you here on this show, you need to keep in mind that there are digital assets and then there are digital assets. Same thing in the stock market, isn't it? There are some stocks that are very much worthy of you buying, representing companies that are solid, stable, permanent, clearly generating profits for investors. And then there are some fly-by-night startups that are penny stocks, that are over-the-counter traded, that are simply there for promoters to make a quick buck. You need to be able to differentiate which kinds of stocks you want to own versus those you want to stay away from. And the same thing is true with digital assets. Before you invest, before you follow the hot tip of somebody in a chat room who you've never heard of, make sure you're talking with a financial advisor for guidance. Should you be investing? And if so, how and to what degree? That's what a good financial advisor can tell you. And not just about Bitcoin and digital assets, but about every asset class. Stocks, bonds, government securities, real estate, oil and gas, natural resources, foreign securities, you name it. The key context of a diversified portfolio. And if you don't know where to find such a financial advisor who can assist you with your overall investment strategy and financial planning, well, you might want to turn to the firm that is ranked the #1 independent financial advisor in the country by Barron's, Edelman Financial Engines. Reach us at 888-PLAN-RICK or visit online at rickedelman.com.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of this station. Content is for educational purposes only. Consult a financial advisor or conduct your own due diligence with investing. Calls are pre-screened and the show was pre-recorded earlier this week. Rick is with Edelman Financial Engines, a part of Financial Engines Advisors, LLC, and the investment advisor that furnishes this program. Barron's ranks financial advisory firms based on assets managed, team size, experience, and regulatory record. Firms self-nominate. Investment returns and experience are not considered. Advisors in the Hall of Fame have been in the top 100 for 10+ years. Future performance is not guaranteed.
Under Carabello live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LA County gas prices have officially reached an all-time high for 2021. Officials in San Diego continue looking into the death of a 40-year-old mother and her 2-year-old son after they fell from the 3rd floor of Petco Park onto the sidewalk. And a deputy in Houston has hurt himself after his patrol car hit a horse around 5 this morning. The horse did die. We'll take a look at traffic on the 105 next. If you thought you missed the lowest mortgage rates in history, you're in luck, because they're back. Mortgage rates are near historic lows again. So if you have a mortgage, refinance it and forget it. You'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Network Capital Funding is offering a low 15-year fixed rate at 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Incredible! Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 15-year fixed rate is 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Now, second chances don't come often, and you may never see these rates again. So, refinance it and forget it. That's a 15-year fix at 1.75%. Yes, 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Call the experts at Network Capital now. Call 800-500-1-HIT. 800-501-HIT. As in home run. Call now and save big on your refi. 800-500-1-HIT. 800-500-1448. NMLS ID 11712. Not licensed in all states. Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Licensed by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation and the Financing Law. Number 603-787 and equal opportunity lender. Rates subject to change and may not be available rate law. Discount points may apply. Subject to credit approval. Call 800-500-1448 for additional cost information. Looks like some activity there on the 105.
westbound side of the 105 in Willowbrook, as how cars are set up stop there between Central and the 110. The right lane is shut down for an unknown duration. Remember to reduce speed through the work zone. Now, taking a look at conditions, southbound 605 through Next Bay Springs. It looks like things are moving really well right now. Once you reach Slauson, you ride to the 405 in 15 minutes. And there's a work zone in Ontario causing problems westbound side of the 10 between the 10, or the 15 rather, and Milliken. The road is reduced down to only 2 lanes. You ride back up just before Etowanda. KFI and the Sky helps you either faster and exploring from.
This report is sponsored by Driveway.com, with more than 25 lenders at your disposal. Driveway can help you get into a new or used car today. Head to Driveway.com now. That's Driveway.com.
It took 45 minutes to get out of the parking lot, and I see a guy who starts kicking the door of a car. He's kind of stumbling, so I'm guessing he's really out of it. Then I hear a voice, "Hey man, what are you doing to my car?" I guess the drunk guy had the wrong car. Couldn't figure out why it wouldn't open. John and Ken, weekdays at 2. But that was going to work anyway. Keep kicking your car door till it opens. On KFI.
Welcome back to the Rick Edelman Show. Well, don't you hate it when I'm right? Last week on the program, I warned you that volatility was going to rear its ugly head, and sure enough, on Monday, well, we saw what happened. The stock market fell dramatically. The stock market fell almost 2%. The Hong Kong index fell over 3%. Europe was down 2%. This was the worst day for U.S. stocks since May. What triggered this? Evergrande. You've never even heard of that company, have you? They're a real estate developer in China, and the stock fell 10% on Monday. Why would the fall of a stock in China have a repercussion on a global basis? Well, for one thing, it shows how connected our economy is on a global basis. The old joke that if China sneezes, the U.S. catches a cold, that the butterfly's wings overseas create a hurricane here. Well, that is increasingly the case. So one single company has a bad day, and it causes repercussions on a global scale. So what's the deal with Evergrande? Why did they fall 10% in value, and frankly, why does anybody care? Well, they're a real estate developer, but they're not just any real estate developer. They are perhaps the biggest real estate developer in China. And they owe massive amounts of money. Nearly $1/3 trillion is the size of their debt. And according to the Financial Times this week, the company was financing that debt by selling bonds and other assets, other investment products, to retail investors in China. They sold over $6 billion worth of investments to 80,000 investors. And what did they do with that money? They didn't use all of it to build their business. They didn't even use all of it to pay interest on their loans. What they did with a lot of that money, according to the Financial Times, they gave the money to other investors. That sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. Evergrande is now down 88% so far this year. And considering the incredible importance of real estate development in China, just think about all the construction, just think about all the materials that the real estate industry in China uses, the supply and demand issue associated with lumber and all the other materials that go into building homes and other complexes in the massive new cities that China is creating. Well, if there's going to be a collapse of this real estate developer, that could portend a slowdown in the real estate sector in the entire country, with massive implications for all the companies that supply materials to the real estate industry in China. And this is why everybody decided, oh my goodness, if this real estate developer is collapsing, this is bad news for everybody else, everywhere else. And so the stock market fell about 2% on Monday. But by Tuesday, everybody said, never mind, no big deal, that was yesterday, we're not going to worry about it anymore. And all of a sudden, Evergrande seemed to be no big deal. And then you saw how the market has performed the entire rest of the week. In other words, it is what I told you last weekend, a return to volatility. We need to recognize that the stock market is typically volatile. Prices move up and down on a regular basis. We've enjoyed over the past year a pretty calm environment, not much volatility at all. But I don't want you to be lulled into a false sense of confidence into thinking that low volatility is normal. It's not. What we've experienced this week, that's normal. Or at least a little more normal than what we've had in the past several months. So recognize it, understand it, accept it, don't get scared by it, and if you are feeling fearful, talk to your financial advisor about it, who can give you the guidance you need as to what you should do about it. The key that you want to avoid is reacting emotionally simply due to a daily headline. Now, having said all that, we do have to ask ourselves the question, what is the likelihood that the stock market's going to continue to do well? What are the threats that are out there that could cause the stock market to fall in value? Well, if the stock market were to fall in value, it would be because corporate profits are falling in value or investors are expecting corporate profits to fall. What are one of the big reasons that might happen? Climate change. It's something we simply have to acknowledge could affect the financial market. The European Central Bank is creating a climate change action plan. The Bank of England warns of financial risks from climate change. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission published a 200-page report. The first sentence, quote, "Climate change poses a major risk to the stability of the U.S. financial system." There are three ways climate change could affect the economy. Number one are transition risks. You know, we've got everybody getting all excited about electric cars. Well, that means we're transitioning from the internal combustion engine to electric vehicles. Well, companies that are polluters, companies that are making products that pollute, well, they're going to go out of business as other companies emerge that are more green in their operations. This transition risk could spell trouble for companies that are, at the moment, very well established, but which can't survive in a new green economy. So transition risk is one impact, potentially, on the economy. Another one are rising temperatures. The Financial Stability Board says economic losses from natural disasters back in the 1980s was $200 billion. Now, $1.6 trillion. This is because of the dramatic increase that we're experiencing in natural disasters, all as a result of rising temperatures. Those losses harm the economy. And related to that, the third way that climate change can affect the financial system, swings in asset prices. The Network for Greening the Financial System says financial losses comprise anywhere from 2% to 25% of the world's GDP. One study says there's $18 trillion worth of stocks around the world, $38 trillion worth of bonds and other debt, all linked to climate risk. Remember collateralized debt obligations, CDOs? Back in 2008, those CDOs were the cause of the downfall of the economic system during the credit crisis. Well, those CDOs comprised only $1 trillion worth of assets. Climate risk controls $56 trillion worth of assets. And this is why you're seeing more and more conversation from more and more governments around the world about coming to terms with the climate issues, because it's not only an environmental issue, it's not only a public health issue, it's a financial issue as well. So we need to pay attention to this and encourage adoption so that it is minimizing the disruption to our economy, to our lives, while also moving forward with protecting the planet. This is just an illustration of the kinds of issues that we are facing on a regular basis. You need to have your pulse on this. You need to make sure you're working with a financial advisor who has their pulse on this. And if you're not sure you are, if you're not sure your advisor is, give us a call here at Edelman Financial Engines. We're happy to help. 888-PLAN-RIC You can visit us online at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. And coming up on the program, I'm going to be talking with you a little bit more about weather-related natural disasters and the impact on your homeowner's insurance. Every week I like to bring you some of the latest innovations in the field of exponential technologies. There is a lot of movement in the world of electric vehicles. We're all looking forward to driving them. A lot of folks already are. One of the problems with them is that they're generally really expensive. They cost $80,000 or more. There are some that are much less expensive, and they're getting cheaper yet. Aptera Motors is now taking orders for a solar-powered, three-wheeled electric vehicle, $25,000. Squad Mobility is taking orders too, a tiny two-seater. It's made for city driving. It goes up to 12 miles on a single charge, so don't go far from home, and it only travels up to 28 miles an hour. So when they say city driving, they really mean it. This car is so small, 4 of them can fit into a single parking space. And then there's California. Candy America has a model K27. It only costs $8,000 after subsidies, but China beats them all. It's introducing a new miniature electric vehicle for $4,200. You're listening to The Truth About Money. I'm Rick Edelman, 888-PLAN-RIC, rickedelman.com.
I'm Andrew Caravello, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Deputies have ramped up their search for a woman from New Jersey who disappeared near Joshua Tree National Park. Gloria Huerta with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department says Lauren Cho was last seen June 28th when she walked away from where she was staying in Yucca Valley.
She was last seen wearing a yellow t-shirt and jean shorts. So we're hoping that that will jog somebody's memory and provide more information for our investigators.
The Riverside County Sheriff's Office said deputies will join the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Morongo Basin Station in a renewed search effort for Cho. A man with a gun has been shot and killed by police in Huntington Beach. The shooting happened around 3:15 yesterday, just south of the pier near the U.S. Open of surfing event. Police got several calls about the man with the gun. When they arrived, the guy refused to put down the gun, and eventually that led to an officer-involved shooting. Marvel is suing to block former comic book artists and their heirs from reclaiming copyrights to characters. The lawsuits are in response to heirs of 5 Marvel authors who are trying to terminate dozens of notices with the U.S. Copyright Office. Canceling these notices would not prevent Marvel from using characters like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. However, the studio would be required to make payments to heirs. The lawsuit argues the characters were created under work-for-hire arrangements. Therefore, the heirs cannot claim copyrights. Marvel is asking for a declaration that it owns the valid copyrights and is not asking for damages. And finally, the looming union strike in Hollywood is revealing some closely guarded streaming numbers.
Apple told the IATSE union that Apple TV Plus has fewer than 20 million subscribers in the U.S. and Canada combined, according to CNBC. That low number of subscribers allows the company to pay lower rates to production crews. Apple has never revealed subscriber numbers, but the number reported would put the streaming service far below competitors like Netflix, which claims to have 209 million subscribers. The different rates streaming companies are allowed to pay for productions compared to traditional TV shows is something the union wants renegotiated. Brian Berumen, KFI News.
There are problems on the 101.
Northbound side in Hollywood, are located at Santa Monica Boulevard, there's a crash along the right shoulder. CHP is currently on scene. There's a crash also in West LA, southbound side of the 405 at National Boulevard, or stall rather. That's up against the center divider. CHP might have to run a traffic brake to clear it off to the right shoulder, so watch for sudden slowing and stopping. And checking conditions, northbound side of the 5 leaving Norwalk. Things look like they're patchy in some areas from the 605 right to downtown is 20 minutes. KFI and this guy helps get you there faster. I'm storing some.
Before I started Rooter Hill Plumbing, I was an angry young man. Hello, I'm John McQuinn. I was angry because my dad died when I was 17 and he left me alone. I was angry because I couldn't go to college with my friends and because I had to drop out of high school. It's not a pleasant story. But as I grew older, I also grew up. I realized that my dad didn't leave me alone. He left me with values and principles that continue to shape my life. Dad said be on time. He didn't like it when people were late. He taught me to be polite. It was something I lost, but we captured along the way. And he taught me to keep my promises, because broken promises lead to broken relationships. We teach and keep these values at Rooter Hero Plumbing. I think we have a pretty good company. I know we have great people. And if one of our heroes fails to live up to these values, please call me. My private number is on the back of every Rooter Hero business card. You can also reach us at rooterhero.com. Thank you.
CL 102-88-86. This is Clay Travis. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Insurance Protein.
The Chargers have beaten division rival Kansas City to go to 2-1 on the season. Justin Herbert tossed 4 scores, with 2 going to receiver Mike Williams. The Rams look to cool off Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in an NFC marquee showdown. UCLA is up 4 places in the USA Today coaches poll, now at 20th in the nation after yesterday's win over Stanford. Oregon's the highest ranked Pac-12 team at 3rd. I'm Richard Johnson.
Try great tasting Insurance Protein with 40 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health. Those who tried Insurance Protein reported feeling more energy in just 2 weeks. For more information, including consumer survey details, please visit insure.com.
Southland weather from KFI. On Monday, we'll see highs in the mid to upper 60s at the beaches, mid-70s for Metro LAOC, upper 70s for the valleys, and up to mid-80s for the Inland Empire. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Andrew Carabella.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years.
He was in big trouble.
We're going to take your house, garnish your pay.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm, and rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau.
I don't want to earn it anymore. It was because of Optima Tax.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Give Optima Tax a call. They can help.
Call 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. Optima Tax Relief. For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Want the best possible price on your next car? Download the Roto app. That's RODO. Roto lets you browse thousands of vehicles from local dealers right from your phone, and even offers contact-free delivery. And with Roto, there's never any haggling. The price you see is pre-negotiated and already includes every available discount. There's no hidden fees and no surprises. Just 100% transparent pricing. So for an easy car buying experience, download the Roto app now or check out roto.com. That's ROTO.com.
Are you an overthinker? Hi, Rick Edelman here, host of the Rick Edelman Show right here every weekend. In 3 decades of serving folks like you here at Edelman Financial Engines, we've met a lot of folks who were trapped because they were overthinking their financial decisions. We get it. This can be scary stuff. You work really hard and you make a lot of sacrifices to save all your money. And well, just imagine if you make a mistake. Bad investment choices, the wrong mortgage, incorrect insurance coverage. It's enough to keep anyone awake at night. So here are 2 pieces of advice to help you solve the problem. First, realize that most decisions can be changed. And second, it's not just you, it's we. You don't have to go it alone. Let us help you. You'll get our experience and our expertise. So call us at Edelman Financial Engines. It's one decision you don't have to overthink. Call us at 888-PLAN-RICK. That's 888-PLAN-RICK. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
The Rick Edelman Show is brought to you by Edelman Financial Services, LLC.
Welcome back to the Rick Edelman Show. We've been talking about climate change and how governments around the world are increasingly considering this a financial risk to the globe, not merely an environmental one. Let me give you a little application of this in terms of today, here, now on your pocketbook. We have seen, obviously, an increase in wildfires, hurricanes, hail, mudslides, tornadoes, and floods. This is not just here in the U.S., but all around the world. But here in the U.S., in your local neighborhood, it has now been estimated that so far this year, 1 out of 3 Americans have experienced a natural disaster. This is just really incredible. One of the causes of this extreme weather is climate change. Billions of dollars in property damage, more than ever, and it's likely to continue. What does it mean for the here and now? Well, it means that some insurance companies are raising their prices. Other insurance companies are refusing to renew the policies. So You might have trouble buying insurance on a brand new home you're looking to buy. You might have trouble renewing your existing policy on a home you already own. Other insurance companies are requiring the homeowners to make major improvements to their houses, to improve the roof, for example, so it won't blow off in a tornado, or to add a certain type of insulation to reduce fire risk. Consider this, a $1 million house in South Florida that was not built to current codes. You know, the house is 10, 20, 30 years old. That house pays $40,000 a year for homeowners insurance. Insurance that would cost $3,000 somewhere else in the country. And if you do try to get your house up to code, to cut your insurance from $40,000 a year to $3,000 a year, you could spend $100,000 on home improvement to get your house up to code. This is an illustration of the impact of climate change right now. So make sure as you are thinking about buying a house, because we know the housing market is hot, lots of folks are looking to move, relocate, buy second homes or what have you, in addition to looking at the neighborhood and evaluating the builder and the property and so on, you must also talk, in addition to your real estate agent, in addition to your mortgage broker, in addition to the title settlement attorney, and in addition to the home inspector, you must now also talk to your insurance agent. You need to verify, can you buy insurance on that property? And what will that insurance cost? These aren't questions you had to ask yourselves in the past, but it's an illustration of how things are changing because of climate change. Something else that's changing, as you well know, is inflation. Inflation is up about 6% this year, and that number is kind of hard to digest. Sometimes you notice it and you see it in the goods and services that you're buying, but in other ways, other cases, it's kind of hard to really notice or observe. And in fact, a lot of people are insulated from it because they're not making very many purchases. Your kids, for example, probably don't recognize the impact of inflation because the kids aren't spending much money on very much stuff. Parents are doing it for them. College students are in an insulated environment as well. Their housing is paid for, they're on a food plan, and therefore those costs are all locked in for the academic year, and they may not be terribly cognizant of the impact of inflation. But there's one area where college students are getting a real education about the impact of inflation. Beer. Yes, beer prices are up 70% from last year.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
The reason beer prices are up so high, there's a shortage in aluminum, and therefore the cost of producing the cans that the beer gets put into have skyrocketed. And college students, yeah, they're feeling the pain, and I assume that they're drinking their misery away. What do you do if you're a college student and beer is 70% more expensive than it was a year ago? Well, you pay for the beer with your credit card, and you simply go into credit card debt. In fact, since COVID began, 45% of Americans have added to their credit card debt. More than half the country now carries a balance from month to month. And 18% of American households owe $20,000 or more to credit cards. 31% of Americans have missed at least one payment this year. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're immediately, as I give you that statistic, trying to contemplate why. Why would people be missing payments with such an incredible amount of frequency? 1 out of 3 people with a credit card have missed a credit card payment? Clearly, it's because these people are under severe economic financial pressure. They may have lost their job. They may have medical bills that are massive and they can't afford to pay them. They may have an unexpected car repair and they just don't have the hundreds of dollars needed to pay the bill. No. The most common reason, according to a recent survey, of why people have missed a credit card payment, 37% said this was the reason. They simply forgot.
What do you say we try that one again, huh?
You know, you can't fix stupid. I mean, if you're going to be an adult, you need to act like an adult. And if you're going to borrow money from someone, you need to recognize you have an obligation to repay that debt. The sooner you repay it, the lower the debt is. And if you're going to act with such immaturity and cavalier attitude that you simply forgot to pay the bill, well, you're not only paying interest, you're also paying late fees and penalties associated with it. You're making the whole situation worse. Hey, I got news for you. Visa and MasterCard love it when you fail to make a payment because they get to charge you even more money. If you need someone to assist you with the management of your personal finances so that you can move into a direction that is positive for your lifestyle, that is beneficial for your financial future, you need to talk with a financial advisor for assistance with this. I mean, there are a lot of reasons people go into debt. They got to pay for food. They've got to pay for the utilities. There's an unexpected emergency. They have to struggle to rent or mortgage. I mean, all of those are understandable. But here's the problem. 23% say that the reason that they are in credit card debt is that they simply spend too much on non-essentials. In other words, you're buying food that isn't really food. It's just snacks. You're going to bars and spending 50, 75, 100 bucks at a clip. You're engaging in wasteful spending on items you don't really need, you don't really want, you're never really going to use, and you're never going to miss them if you didn't never have them. We need to recognize that you need to spend less than you earn. It's as simple as that. If you'll follow that one piece of advice of everything that I've ever said over the 30 years I've been doing this radio broadcast, that one piece of advice will make you wealthy. Spend less than you earn. So many people are living a lifestyle they simply can't afford, and we need to break that cycle. Now, in the face of it, people are taking the attitude, I don't want to break the cycle, I instead want the government to give me money. Well, we already have a huge number of Americans receiving money from the government, and now 72% in a recent survey say they support UBI, Universal Basic Income. 72% of Americans polled say they want the federal government to send them a check on a monthly basis, just because. Who politically is supporting this? 88% of Democrats support universal basic income. 72% of independents support this. And even a majority of Republicans, 53% of Republicans support universal basic income. And this will not surprise you at all. According to the survey, they not only asked what's your political affiliation, they also asked how much money do you own. They also asked what is your age. And you guessed it, the less you earn, the more you want universal basic income. I don't make a lot of money, so I want the government to give me some. And the younger you are, the more you support universal basic income. Because working is really hard, and I don't want to have to work this hard for the rest of my life, so just give me money. Well, think about this. The vast majority of Americans don't earn very much money. The average household income in this country is less than $35,000 a year. And the vast majority of the country is younger rather than older. So if most people in this country don't earn very much and are young, and they are the ones most supportive of universal basic income, it is therefore inevitable that universal basic income will become the law of the land. I don't know when. I don't know what that income will be. I don't know what the criteria will be. We're going to have to wait and see. I'm Rick Edelman. Stay with us for more here on The Rick Edelman Show. 888-PLAN-RICK, rickedelman.com. And if you've got questions you want to ask me, you can record them on your cell phone and send me the audio file to askrick@rickedelman.com. I'll answer on the air.
I'm Andy Carabello, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. U.S. Representative Karen Bass has been expected to announce her candidacy for mayor of Los Angeles. L.A. County is reporting over 1,600 new coronavirus cases and 29 new deaths. And tomorrow's Cleveland Indians baseball game will mark the last home appearance of a Major League Baseball team with that particular name. We'll take a look at traffic on the 10 freeway next.
If you thought you missed the lowest mortgage rates in history, you're in luck, because they're back. Mortgage rates are near historic lows again. So if you have a mortgage, refinance it and forget it. You'll never have to worry about refinancing again. Network Capital Funding is offering a low 15-year fixed rate at 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Incredible! Network Capital has built a reputation for saving people time and money with our unique process that's fast, simple, and secure. Our 15-year fixed rate is 1.75% with a 1.94 APR. Now, second chances don't come often, and you may never see these rates again. So refinance it and forget it. That's a 15-year